Okay, here we go. The last video at Squash Hollow Farm. This is the walk. You've watched us do that walk. Who knows how many videos. And I figured we should start the last video off with the walk down the steps from the house. That's about as much planning as I've done for this video. Oh. It's like such a nice misty morning.
Hello. Checking yourself out?
My mirror. COVID hair. COVID hair.
18 years ago I made a move and I never thought I would move back. 2 years ago we made a similar move that we never expected to make. This is Smolder.
How do we think it went? Was it an awful mistake?
That's right.
There's the title of the video.
Was this an
Moving to PA. Was this an awful mistake?
Well, it's a question.
No, it's a good question. Was this a good move? We are officially 2 years in.
It's our anniversary this week, our move-iversary.
And we want to talk about that decision, how it's changed our life, what we think in today's video. This is the end of this story. If you like to read books, you know that feeling when you're getting towards the end of the book and you love the book and you're sad that you're getting towards the end of the book because you know at this point it's going to be over. That's where I'm at right now.
At the end of the book.
Come on, Pep! Pep! Next thing I'm going to do is put up some better pictures. And, Good morning, Camaloos. Good morning, Miss Mill. I took Millie's halter off yesterday. I'm trying to get her trained better with the halter, putting on and off. She loves taking it off. Not a big fan of putting it on. I think I'll put her into the stanchion. Hi, Mill. See if that helps. I like putting it on each day.
Yeah, maybe just do it while she's in
Trainer. There we go. She does great. Yeah.
All right, crises.
All right.
Water.
All right, Mill. Here we go, Mill. There we go. Almost. Almost. Head. There you go. What a good camel. That wasn't so bad. Good job. Did we catch that?
Yeah, I think.
Excellent, Mill. What a good camel. A lot of you have just started watching our videos in this last 90 some odd days that we've been doing a daily camel train video. So a lot of you don't actually know our whole story. We used to have a homestead back in Connecticut. What are you getting ready? What you guys getting ready? The chickens. You're the... And we lived there on that homestead for maybe almost 8 years. We were on that homestead. And we grew it from scratch. It was a 10-acre property with a fallen down outbuilding. And that was kind of it. Right there, Bubby. Little chickie. Don't fall in the hole. Kay and I moved there when our baby boy was 1 year old. And she wanted to have some chickens and I wanted to have a little land to hunt on. Before you knew it, we had meat chickens and pigs and then goats and then we got a cow. And we were growing that homestead with the idea that we were going to raise our kids there. We had never planned to leave Connecticut. I worked with my dad doing construction and I was the foreman on the job there. I had that good job there. I wasn't going to move away from that. We had the nice little homestead there. The only reason we even started thinking about leaving Connecticut was the cost of living in Connecticut was going higher and higher and higher. And we realized with what we wanted to do, farming, homesteading, we wanted a little bit more land, and we couldn't afford to do that in Connecticut. It was just too expensive. And so the seed was planted, maybe we should move and leave Connecticut. But honestly, for a long time, I never thought that was going to happen. It wasn't until I started doing this business of the Homesteady YouTube channel and the podcast and working online that even the idea became even possible that maybe we could move to a different farm, somewhere where we could afford to have some more land. But even then, it was still kind of a long way away dream, something we didn't expect to happen. And so it did come as a surprise to us 2 years ago when suddenly things aligned and we were getting ready to leave Connecticut for Pennsylvania. What do you got?
A bear that's new company. Abby didn't get it now.
Oh, it's a bean. That's a great idea. She likes them. I moved away from Pennsylvania when I was 18, almost 19 years old. So to think about coming back as a 34-year-old mama of 4, I left, I was a different person. So it was scary to come back. I hadn't been close to family ever, close to my family while I was having kids. So just wondering how the whole dynamic would work. You go from being like this couple. I didn't know what it would be like, and I was kind of scared. 2 years ago, one winter, my parents came up to visit, and my dad saw how much we were doing on the farm. We had the cows, we were doing chickens, raising our own meat. Don't! All right, let me tie her up. Calves in the barn with a camera are always a recipe for disaster. But I saved it. I smashed my face, but I saved the camera. Said he's not sure which is more important. Smart mouth. Okay, so my dad saw everything we were doing on the farm, plus the amount of kids we had in a small house on a small property in Connecticut. And he said, look, I'm getting older. We've got the family farm. It's been in the family since my great-grandfather. He said, I could use the help taking care of it. I'm getting older. That's what my dad says. I think he was using a little emotional blackmail in that one. I'm poor old dad getting older, needs help on the family farm. That was, I guess, the best thing he could have ever said to us, because to say, like, hey, we could help. We could go down there, have more room for us, have more room for the kids, and actually help. That was pretty appealing.
We'd been building Homesteady for a couple of years at that point, and it was getting to the level where we knew it was going somewhere. And we really wanted to do it full time. We knew the minute we could free ourselves up and just focus on... Is this just rhythmic farts?
No, honey.
Who's doing that?
Luna.
Oh, that's funny. Luna's just farting. Get that. We knew it was going somewhere, and the sooner we could afford to go full time on it, the better. But that was really hard to do in Connecticut. It was just cost prohibitive. So for the first time ever, we actually decided, you know what, we could make this move. We'd have more homestead to work with and less expenses. It would be like I was getting paid more by moving, because less of our money would be going to taxes and the cost of living in Connecticut. So we took the leap. is it. Final morning. Take the last few things and put them in the car. And hit the road. We're leaving our farm for good. You take one good look at the house.
Guys, say bye to the house.
Bye, house. Bye, house.
Take a good look, dudes.
Yes, sweetie?
Take a good look.
Where I grew up, it was still scary thinking about moving back here because Connecticut had been my home for almost 20 years. And I like it there. I like the people, I like the culture, I like the community that we had up there. So thinking about changing all that, even the stuff like changing pediatricians, like I love my pediatrician there.
And our bakery.
And our bakery. That was the stuff that was hard to leave. And our friends.
And our friends, but mostly our bakery.
It was a good bakery. Austin had never moved away from home ever. Like he was Connecticut, born and raised.
Yeah, that was the hardest part for me, was thinking about leaving, you know, my family, being close to my family. And yeah, just our whole social network. Doesn't matter these days during COVID, right? Am I right? Little COVID joke for you. But yeah, moving is scary because it's such an unknown, and even when it's a good move and you're excited about it, there's still a lot of like, is this a good idea?
Yeah, so for us, we kind of just had to break it down to what we thought would be the best for our family, and that was making the move back to Pennsylvania.
Let's get up the mountain. I'll just stop here for now. We got a hay delivery coming today, and yeah, we're getting ready for it. When you first move to a new place, I think pretty much anytime you're moving for a reason other than like a bad reason, like you had to because you lost your home and the only place you could move was somewhere worse. So if you're moving for a nice reason, like, oh, to try a new thing or go to a new place or take on a new kind of job or something, at first 6 months are going to be really exciting. It's all the new things, new people, new places, new stuff. And that was a good, easy period. But then from about 6 months to a year, it started to get hard, especially for me. Missing home, missing the familiarities of home, right? Just like the place where your favorite bakery, right? Where you go and get a bagel and a coffee. My friends are watching this video are thinking, boy, all he misses is that bakery. But, you know, just like the things you're used to, knowing where you are and where to go for certain things and who to go to for things, and having your close, you know, friends nearby to give a call if you need a hand. And from about 6 months to a year, I got really homesick. I missed being home. And that kind of came to a head when my grandfather died, and I wasn't home for that. And that was probably the lowest point for me and for us. About a year in, right before our 5th son was born, we were talking about moving. We were starting to look at property and you know, changing things up, because I was homesick. I missed being in Connecticut, and it was really a tough transition period. Looking back, I think that's normal. I think that's part of moving. There's this separation from the old life and rebuilding into the new one. And I think that was the separation part where it really broke, and I really realized, you know what, this is where we are now. It's time to build here. Because for the first 6 months to a year on this homestead, we didn't do a whole lot of our own stuff. We kind of just moved into the current one and we're finding ourselves and our rhythms.
Having moved more than Austin, I knew there were growing pains. So even though we would window shop, I guess, like dream about, oh, this would be great, this would be great, this would be great, I always think like, but there's a downside to everywhere you go. And there are definite growing pains with moving, and that's what we were going through. Like, this was hard. This was hard for us as a couple. This has been something we had never done before, moved so far from where we were settled. But we decided just to stick it out, to just be fair to the decision we had made and give it a chance. If you know, go back on something within 6 months or a year and decide to move someplace else, you weren't giving the place a fair shot. And we didn't want to turn into those people who were always looking for something better and were never content with where they were.
I'd say that was kind of the turning point.
Having a baby? Or a year?
Maybe a little bit of both. Like, it's a long enough time to get over the fun initial stage, and then also get through the like homesick
hard stage, yeah.
Hard stage.
And then we started feeling settled and kind of had more purpose, because we moved from the apartment into the big house, the house I grew up in. So we could kind of then take over management on the farm on this side of our property.
At that point, we really started building our new life. Instead of just like living in a place, we started actively building. You saw us do a lot more projects here on the homestead, start kind of taking the infrastructure and changing it to fit what we wanted to do, and running the property the way we wanted to do it. And I think it's funny, one of the things a couple negative people said early on when we announced we were moving here to a family farm, which is a shared farm property, is like, oh, you know, you're not going to have your control, you're giving that up, now you're going to be indebted to, you know, your in-laws for letting you on there and that sort of thing. And, you know, that may be the case for some people in their lives. This would not work for everybody. But I think for us, this is This has worked incredibly well. If there's something that I can say about my in-laws, it's that they're very, very generous people, and they never, ever hold that over you. They always give, and it comes with whatever they're giving, whether that be the support, whether that be, you know, here, come take the family farm and the family house and you guys can run it now. There's no strings attached. And we were really able to, in this last year, start actively working this place. My father-in-law checks in from time to time.
He's a boss.
So he's here like 3 times a day.
It's in his blood.
But the nice thing is he knows the land and he knows the property and he gives advice and he warns us about, hey, you got to watch this and this will be a problem and don't forget that. And but still letting us decide at the end what to do. And so this last year's been awesome.
Yeah.
We've been able to really start.
We've all found our place here, and although I was anxious about being this close to family because I hadn't been close for so long, I have to say I love it. It's the first time I've had a baby with my mom right next door, and that's been fantastic. And anytime we've been sick, there's soup that shows up, there's weekly gobs and cookies and all sorts of goodies. And it's nice. When we lived in Connecticut, when my parents would visit, it would be this event. It would be like, okay, grandparents are coming to visit, exciting, let's clean the house, let's all get ready. And then they'd be there for a weekend, and it was great but tiring. And I think on their side and our side, it would be tiring for everybody to have guests, to be guests. But now that we can just like pop over for dinner, or go see your grandparents, watch a movie, have ice cream and popcorn, we all, I think, I can speak for myself, I love it. I really like being this close to them. So that kind of leads us into the camel train, right?
Yeah.
How's that?
So today's camel train shout out goes to Grandma.
And we'll say my dad as well, as an honorary. We'll throw him
Grandpa in there too.
Yeah, throw him on there too.
Grandma decided to join the camel train because she loves supporting her kids.
And my parents have always been very supportive of, cow.
Wow, she got some mileage.
Yeah.
How to rein her back in.
Yeah, we do.
She's free.
There she goes, up the
Okay,
path.
we'll find her.
Always supportive, whether it's been music lessons, a new instrument, a new animal, a new farm endeavor.
Whatever you wanted,
a new
whatever
occupation.
new hobby you were.
I can say as children we weren't spoiled because it wasn't toys and things like that. But if I found a passion, something I wanted to really dive into, my parents have always supported me. And since we've got married, they've supported both of us. And I cannot thank them enough.
We cannot thank them enough.
And we cannot thank them enough.
So thank you both. We wouldn't be, I was thinking today about where our channel is, right? The different things, our animals, the camels. We loved our Connecticut homestead. That was a beautiful little place. But we couldn't have built what we've built without being here in Pennsylvania. And more important than ever, to feed our family the way we're feeding our family, to have our 5th little baby, their 7th grandkid, right? They got a bunch of grandkids. We wouldn't be able to feed him the way we need to back in Connecticut. It just wasn't a big enough homestead for us to do what we needed to feed this family the way we want to. So there's nothing more important. If you're a parent, you know there's nothing more important to you than taking care of your family and feeding your family the way you want to. To be able to do that, moving to Pennsylvania allowed us to do that. So thank you guys so much for helping us along our 11 years now, 12 years we've been together, 13 years we've been together.
Yeah. Are you emotional?
I'm always emotional. I'm always emotional.
Now you feeling emotional?
I'm feeling a little bit emotional, yeah. Looking back, looking and seeing what this property has done to us, what it's turned us into, it's so cool to see, and I'm only really just excited to see where this next chapter in our life is going to take us, because this book's closing. Connecticut. Is it a chapter or a new book? I got to get my.
You keep saying it's a chapter.
I got to get my illustration
the end of the
right.
book, so it's a new book.